How's it going, guys? It's Jacob Gaming here, and I got another what if video for you today. Today's video will be what if the greatest NBA player from every NBA franchise went back to that team. Julius Erving will represent the 76ers greatest player all time. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the Bucks. Michael Jordan for the Chicago Bulls, who I might add is the greatest player of all time, and there's no debate about it. LeBron James, nothing changed for Cleveland, as he's a 97, I would say. That is pretty damn good. So I left this year's LeBron on that team. Larry Bird, the greatest Celtics all time. Yes, he is better than Bill Russell. Bob McAdoo, the greatest Clipper all time. Pau Gasol, the greatest Grizzly all time, although his brother is catching him. Bob Pettit, the greatest Atlanta Hawk of all time. Dwayne Wade, the greatest Miami Heat player. Yes, better than LeBron, even though technically if you could say LeBron is the better player to have played for the Heat, but for what Wade has done for the team and the fact that LeBron's already in Cleveland, I went with Wade. The Hornets was a tough one. I could have went with 3 players, but I went with Glenn Rice, super underrated player. So he's the greatest Hornet of all time. Karl Malone is the greatest Jazz of all time. It's tough to pick him over Stockton, but when you're second in NBA scoring all time and went to 3 NBA Finals, that's impressive. Oscar Robertson is the greatest Sacramento King of all time, even though he didn't play on the team when it was called the Kings, and they're on the other side of the country. But he is still a Sacramento King in the record books. This was tough, but I chose Patrick Ewing over players like Willis Reed and Walt Frazier, so he will represent the Knicks. Magic Johnson is the greatest Laker of all time, and I know I'm going to hear it from some people. They're like, oh, what about Kobe? I'm sorry. Kobe is a top 10 player all time, but Magic is Magic. There's no other player like Magic. There are other players like Kobe. In fact, one of them played in Chicago. I also chose him over Kareem because Kareem represents the Bucks. Tracy McGrady for the Magic, and a lot of people are going to flip like, why not Shaq? It was tough to not pick Shaq, but I think in their primes, Tracy McGrady was better on the Magic than Shaq was. Even though it's really hard to say that, but it's true. Tracy McGrady he was a monster in Orlando. Dirk Nowitzki for the Mavericks. It wasn't a tough one at all. Jason Kidd for Brooklyn. I chose him over Julius Erving for 2 reasons. The first reason was Erving never played for them in the NBA, and the second is he's representing Philadelphia. Carmelo Anthony for the Nuggets. It was tough to pick him over Dave Thompson, but I looked at what they did for the team, and Melo was there, I believe, a little bit longer, and well, his stats are better. So I chose Melo. I chose Reggie Miller for the Pacers. It's a no-brainer. I chose Anthony Davis for the Pelicans, so this is him from this year, so really no change for the Pelicans. I chose Isaiah Thomas from the Detroit Pistons. I as well think this is a no-brainer. If you disagree, fight me. Vince Carter, greatest Raptor of all time. So he makes a fierce big 3 in Toronto with DeRozan and Lowry. Hakeem Olajuwon, also no debate. I would say very underrated player. And him and Harden scare me to death. If you imagine the lobs, I can. Tim Duncan fits right back in with all his old teammates for the most part, so it's kind of funny. It's like he never left, except he's a lot better than he was when he retired. Steve Nash, and a lot of you guys are going to be flipping out over me excluding Charles Barkley. Well, I figured it was very tough to choose Nash over Barkley, but Nash with the 2 MVPs, what he did for the Suns, he was there longer than Barkley, and the fact that I think a point guard would work, like a point guard like Nash would work better in the Suns system. That is why I chose Nash. The Thunder, I chose Durant. I did not take into consideration any Supersonics players because me personally, the Supersonics do not deserve to be grouped with the Thunder. So therefore, I respect the Supersonics and I went with the Thunder player. No brainer, Kevin Durant. Kevin Garnett was also a no-brainer for the Timberwolves. He joins Jimmy Butler and co. Clyde Drexler for the Blazers makes a fierce backcourt with Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. And Wilt Chamberlain for the Warriors. I went with him just because Wilt is extremely underrated and forgotten as a Warrior, in my opinion, by many of today's youth. And, well, since Steph Curry and Durant are both already on the team, I didn't want to choose one of them. Wes Unseld for the Wizards. It was hard to choose him over Alvin Hayes, but just what Unseld did for the team. I believe he won the NBA MVP in his rookie season. That or he won the NBA championship. I can't exactly remember. All right, let's dive into it. All right. Do I think the Bulls will make the playoffs with added Michael Jordan? Yes, I'm confident in the greatest player of all time. Let's see if it happens. Let's go to December 1st and see after that how all the legends and their teams are stacking up. Well, at least Jordan beat LeBron, right? Oh my god, decimated OKC. I want to check that OKC game at the end of this month. Just to see. Looks like some of the historic NBA franchises. Oh, the Knicks are dropping like a rock now. But Jordan has definitely improved this Bulls team, even in a league that features several other star players from other franchises. So that's good to see. I'm also really intrigued to see like what Magic Johnson's stats are. So the ones that stick out the most, I will show to you after this. But let's just see what Jordan did in this game. 32 points. Wow. In the game when he went up against the King, 35. Beat the Cavs again. Let's go. The Bulls are trying to sink. Powered over their finals rivals, the Jazz. That's always good. Uh-oh. They're falling. They're still beating the Cavs. I like it. Alright, let's check the award races. Russell Westbrook still an MVP candidate. Hakeem Olajuwon, Larry Bird, Chris Paul, and James Harden are all up there. Rookie of the Year, your usual suspects, though John Collins never really talked about. These two, just as I expect. These two, I'm not surprised. Sixth Man of the Year, Aldridge, who was pushed to the bench, no doubt, because of Tim Duncan. Derek Favors, Melo, who was pushed to the bench because of Durant. Jeremy Lin, and Robert Covington, who was pushed to the bench because of Julius Erving. Alright, Defensive Player of the Year. All players from this that were added: Bob McAdoo, Hakeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Wes Unseld. Most Improved Player: Sabonis, Gordon, Dunn, Schroeder, and John Drummond. Dunn's stats aren't as good, playing next to Michael Jordan, but that's not surprising. Jordan's point guards really never were big stat stuffers. In the All-Star voting, Westbrook is so far the highest non-legend player on this, followed by James Harden, Chris Paul, Klay Thompson, Jimmy Butler, and Lillard. So with our legends being Oscar Robertson, Clyde Drexler, Magic Johnson, and and Steve Nash. I think they're more front court players for the West. Yep, here they are. Hakeem, Karl Malone, Bob McAdoo, with Durant being the only non-legend player. Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, the legend version of Durant, Wilt Chamberlain, Dirk, and Carmelo. So out east, Michael Jordan is the top vote getter, with Isaiah Thomas, Dwayne Wade, Kyrie Irving being the highest non-legacy player, Tracy McGrady, followed by non-legacy John Wall, Jason Kidd, non-legacy Bradley Beal, non-legacy DeMar DeRozan, and non-legacy Kemba Walker. Oops. Larry Bird, Bob Pettit, LeBron James, followed by non-legacy Giannis. He's actually higher than Kareem. Surprising. But wow, he's going off. Almost a double-double. Vince Carter, Wes Unseld, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Patrick Ewing, Reggie Miller, and Glenn Rice. Right, on to the next half of the season. We'll play till the All-Star break and see who made the All-Star team. We'll check the standings. Well, my Bulls are still a top seed in the East, but barely. Let's see who made the All-Star teams. But first, award races. That trio in Houston is still dominating, but Westbrook averaging a triple-double. Bob McAdoo also in the conversation. And nothing's changed there. And nothing's really changed here. Larry Nance is now in the conversation. Bob McAdoo, Tim Duncan, Olajuwon, Whiteside, and Garnett, your usual suspects. Nothing's really changed here. Aaron Gordon having a terrific year. All-star participants: Michael Jordan and Dwayne Wade as the guards. This is like the first time you see a point guard not as a starter in the East. Larry Bird, LeBron, and Giannis. John Wall, Bradley Beal, Vince Carter, Bob Pettit, Embiid, Isaiah Thomas, and Drummond. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 non-legacy players made the East All-Stars. Alright, now you got Robertson, Westbrook, Olajuwon, Malone, McAdoo, Paul, Drexler, Leonard, Duncan, Cousins, Harden, and Durant. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the West. Alright, let's go to the end of the year and see who made the all teams and who gets what awards, and then to the playoffs. The Bulls are just trying to catch the Bucks while staying ahead of the Raptors at the same time. No easy task. The Bulls are going to have a tough time in the first round just based off, like, it's not Jordan's fault. Jordan just doesn't have a supporting cast. Oh, the Bulls just hopped in the second, but that could change. Because we could, if we have a bad stretch of games, we could fall right out. But I think we'll clinch probably next week. There's only a 4.5 game difference from, oh geez, that Clippers game. Oh, we finally lose to LeBron. Oh. Need to catch the Wizards. I'm surprised the Wizards are doing so well. I guess Unseld is the perfect player for that system or something. Oh, geez, we're taking a lot of losses. Come on, come on. Big win over the Hornets. I gotta check that later. Just want to see. Jordan had to have had like a 50-point game or something. Oh yes, I can't go back now. Oh, Westbrook, a 0.1 shy of a triple-double, but wins the MVP. I'm a little surprised about that, to be honest, but good for Westbrook. Simmons, Rookie of the Year. Aldridge, 6th man. McAdoo is Defensive Player of the Year. Sabonis. And wow, that is insane, that record. 69-13 for the Rockets. Westbrook, Robertson, James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, McAdoo, Wall, Chris Paul, Larry Bird, Dirk, Hakeem, Harden, Drexler, Pettit, Malone, Drummond. Alright, what was it, that Hornets game? Only had 44 for a game high. I don't think they got Jordan right in how he plays in 2K. Just doesn't score like he should. 34 in Charlotte. Alright. Let's simulate the first round of the... first. These are your playoff teams. Jordan is good enough to get the Bulls into a second seed, with other teams also, with most teams adding a player. The Cavs fell out. The Pistons barely squeaked in, kind of like they're doing now. The Wizards catapulted to first. Toronto fell. Like Vince Carter wasn't enough to keep them up there. Philly rised. Celtics fell. Apparently, for some reason, Larry Bird couldn't. The Hawks rose too. I guess Bob Pettit, big time player. The Warriors and the Rockets remain the same. OKC, not surprising. Spurs, like the top 5 teams are like the top 5 teams in the West now. Clippers squeaked in. The Blazers squeaked in, and Utah. So this is not as much surprising. This very surprising. Alright, we'll simulate the current round. And the Bucks are the first to go down, followed by the Blazers, the Celtics, the Bulls. Oh my god. Gotta see what happened. Oh, that's not Michael Jordan I know. Bob Pettit must have went off. Oh no. Schroeder. Alright. Well, I'm projecting that the Raptors will win that series, followed by the Sixers, easily Golden State, and the Rockets. Just as I predicted. Oh yeah, I did predict that. And yeah. Okay, so Rockets are gonna win this one. And you know what? I'm gonna go out and say Raptors make it to the finals. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay. Well, it was a game 7. That was close. So Philly versus Houston. Houston takes game 1 and game 2, but Philly comes back. But it's a 3-1 series, and the Rockets win it. James Harden, 30 points per game with 9 assists per game. Absolute monster. So let's see what the Rockets averaged all year. Harden stepped it up in the playoffs, that's for sure. Olajuwon is fairly consistent. Chris Paul definitely stepped it up in the playoffs. Anderson, Gordon, Capella, fairly consistent. Green, Wow. How many games did he play? I don't think too many. Oh, these guys didn't even play. this season. Huh. Wow, Joe Johnson not even playing one game. That just shows how deep that team is. Well, anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you leave a comment. What kind of situation would you like to see next, or what kind of what if? Let me know. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.
Dude, why is Chris Dunn still out? Jesus.